You think she's a good girl, but once you get to know her, you realize she's everything. She's crazy, she's funny, she's honest, and you'll never know what she'll do next.
So glad you came. This is amazing. I'm here today with Victoria Redstall. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Victoria is an honest to goodness celebrity. She is famous for your camera work, acting, author. What else have you done, Victoria?
Oh gosh, investigative journalist, Weather on the Morning News in Los Angeles, soap opera, one soap opera, MasterChef. Oh God, lots of TV shows, commercials, infomercials, some movies. I've done quite a bit in the industry.
I'm so excited to meet you. Now, how did we meet? Do you want to tell everybody? They're probably wondering, Tracy, how do you always come across all these interesting people?
Oh gosh,
How did I come across you?
Yeah, thank
You remember?
Molly, our friend Molly.
Yes.
She introduced us
through friends here in Naples, Florida. And how did you? This is my last question, but I just was wondering, how did you find Naples? From all of your travels that you've done.
Yeah,
Start off with that. How did you find Naples?
That was my mother. We wanted to leave California. My family.
Is your mom living here too now?
She does. She lives here too. Yeah. And my father did, except he went to heaven a few years ago. So we, the whole family came to Naples because of my mother's choice. I actually didn't even know there was a west coast of Florida. So that shows how dumb I was.
Oh my goodness. Now, where did you come from? Where did you start?
Well, I'm English, obviously. So
where were you born?
England, London, England, from the south. I'm born and raised in the south of England, a place called Surrey, where Wimbledon is right now. So Surrey is where I'm from, Western Europe, and very proud to be English. And I came to America at 19 years old.
I know. That was the time, too, that you went to Spain.
18. I went to Spain as soon as I could leave the country. So I was plotting my escape of England when I was 17. I'm proud to be English, but I wanted to get away from the weather. And my heart's always been in this country, where my earrings are. You can see my earrings, is Spain. So I was plotting my escape, and I ended up a nanny. But I ended up a nanny with the gypsies in Spain. That's how I learned Spanish.
Okay. And how did you go from that to an acting career then?
Because I was there month after month in Spain, and there was no growth for me there. And at boarding school, I was always the best at acting. LAMDA, we studied, London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. So I was always the best on stage, on camera. And my teacher...
Well, of course, look at this.
That's very
rock
sweet,
star.
Tracy. But the teacher, when I was a young girl, said to my mother, she's destined for this big screen, the theatre, the screen. Theatre, I'm not so comfortable at, because I like to be able to go on camera and bring everything in as opposed to out, and so I felt that months after months in Spain, I was about 7-8 months in Spain, there wasn't the growth. I wasn't doing a career that
How long were you in Spain?
About 8 months. 8 months, looking after a number of children, and way up the mountains with corrugated iron roofs. The rain poured in on us. I got very sick, and then I knew
I was sick.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, because of rain. That's why I never get sick anymore, because I think I've had everything when it comes to coughs and colds and bronchitis and anything that's when you have the rain pouring in and you were sleeping, you're just lying in damp clothes. Okay. It can be rough. It was wonderful, but I had to move somewhere where there was growth.
Right.
And I came on a 6 months visa to Los Angeles. Because my mother had lived in America before. She worked for Hornberg Jaguar when she was 21. So I came here at 19 to Los Angeles. Just south of Los Angeles, I started out as a nanny, but I was only here for the first 6 months. Then you have to leave the country every 6 months. Otherwise, you get into trouble, which I got into trouble after about 2 years of doing that. They realized I'm going to Mexico City. I worked in Mexico City as a model. So I did that. So I was able to speak Spanish from Spain in Mexico City. And they always said, "Oh, you learned your Spanish in Spain." I said, yeah, I did.
Is that right?
Yeah. So in Mexico City, I worked for commercials, Humex, Fanta Orange, Winston cigarettes. I did all of that. And then I was able to come back. So I was always leaving the country every 6 months.
Wow. Now, was it easy for you to get started, or were there some challenges that you went through? Anything that you can teach our viewers about, like the trials that you've gone through? I always like to find out, like, is there a nugget that you can teach our viewers about how they can get to the stardom that you received?
Well, the thing is, I would have been more of a star had I have no morals. But my most important thing about me is my morals. So if anyone thought they could kiss me, some ugly producer, usually I would slap them. or laugh at them. I mean, it was
Did
very.
that happen quite often?
I have slapped a few because it's not like I go around slapping people. It's just if somebody with a face that could stop a clock thinks they could even kiss me, let alone, God forbid, what the LA women do. But even if they thought they could kiss me, how is their mind so delusional? I never understood that. Well, of course, I understand it now because these women in Los Angeles have no morals in general. And they would sleep with these men. And they would get the roles that I didn't. So I'm actually very proud to say that although my career on camera has been very successful, it's been very diverse.
You saw that happen.
Yeah, it's been very because I went to journalism after that, and then I went and I worked on movies with gay men who were the producers, who were only hiring me for my talent. I was working on commercials, infomercials, and a soap opera. There's no casting couch with that. But to be an A-list actress, to be the Jennifer Aniston or there's Sharon Stones and all that. Those kind of things, and I'm not spreading rumors, but you hear those kind of things, and I've seen it happen, and it almost happened to me, but I would laugh at a man when it came to even just the kiss. So it didn't go further than that, but these other women would get the role over me because they were doing that. So the trick is hold on to your morals, but you won't be an A-list actress unless you're related to someone or married to somebody. So there are Drew Barrymore didn't sleep her way to the top because her father was Lionel Barrymore.
Right.
And there's plenty of other people. If you've got a family member or you're married to somebody, that's fine. But if you are not married to anyone and they make moves on you, watch out. It's not a career I would advise anyone. Journalism, I would. Investigative journalism, I love it. I love it to this day. And I do a lot of it to this day, let's just say.
Okay. All right. Now, what is your voice for the voiceless?
That's come up only very recently in the last few months. Because I work on cruise ships. I've done that since 2016. In 2021, 22, I was on a cruise ship that was the Caribbean. Every 2 weeks, the same port. So every port, I had a stray dog. Antigua, the dog would run to my ship, Antigua. And every 2 weeks, she would actually, she was female, she'd wait by Diamonds International. And she'd wait for me to come out, and I'd go straight to Diamonds International with my guests, and that dog would be there. And I loved her. Then there was another dog. Then there was another dog, kept getting pregnant. We called her Lolita. But then there was in Aruba, there was a dog that ran through the streets on 3 legs.
Wow.
Now, none of these dogs have voices. None of them could say, I'd like to be spayed, which they all should have been. None of them can say, I'm hungry. I don't want to live on the streets. So something had to be done with a dog. And I knew that the one that looked like he'd just been hit by a car was the one that I have currently, that's the love of my life, here with my other dog, Max, which I did end up rescuing. So every 2 weeks, I'd see this dog. I really thought he'd just been hit by that car because he would run through the streets on these 3 working legs. And I did everything. So my friend Sabi, who is the manager of Milano, one of the wonderful jewelry stores I would take my guests along with Diamonds International, Milano, Monarch, Touch of Gold, that's Aruba. Sabi would help me. That's the Indian man. He would say, I think, Sabi, did you see that dog on 3 legs? Oh, Victoria did not see him today, but I look for him tomorrow for you. I said, because my contract, when it ends, please, Sabi, I've got to get him captured and shipped to me in America. After months and months and months, the dog was, he was days they took him to capture him. Then he was in the vet for a few months, curing him of anemia, to spay him, vaccinate him, and chip him. And he was on the plane to me, and a dog with no name. What do you think I called him?
No name.
Sabi, after my wonderful friend in Aruba. So he's called Sabi, and he is thriving here in.
Now, why did you call him Sabi? I wouldn't have guessed Sabi.
Because of my friend, my friend who helped so much in getting him captured, who helped give me advice on. He's such a dog lover, my Indian friend, and he would tell me you rub turmeric and milk on any dog wound, and he would do that to his dogs, and it would disappear because these Indian spices are very healing, turmeric and all of the ones. So I learned so much from him. I've always known him since 2016. And in 2022, 2023, I ended up with Sabi, my dog, and named after him in his honor. So the voice of the voiceless came from rescuing dogs, understanding that stray dogs and dogs that are bred like hobby breeders, this is very bad here in Collier County, they don't have a voice to say, I don't want to keep getting pregnant. It's got to stop. The DAS here in Collier County is overrun. The Humane Society is overrun. So to reduce the population, you go to the source and you stop these backyard breeders. So the voices, and then I actually rescued a baby squirrel last September, my other dog, had him in his mouth, and raised him close to my heart. And I raised him, and 2 months later, just over 2 months, I set him free. I see Lucky the squirrel every day, and I recently did that
that's amazing.
May the 19th of this year, 2025. I did that with a baby raccoon. But because I'm an investigative journalist, I without saying too much, because I have a cease and desist letter from who I believe may have taken the life of these raccoons for absolutely no reason, I decided to keep the sibling back from the 2 I did give them at this place. And we're waiting on the records.
Okay.
There is a Florida statute 119.07. Every business, every organization has to produce the records of whatever they do.
Okay.
You can't be, I don't know what they're doing. Are they euthanizing the animals? Are they setting them free early? Are they not caring? Nobody knows what's going on. But 119.07 will uncover what's going on right now. So I'm working with a few people on the records, and the investigation that I did on my own by taking that sibling, raising that sibling, proved that the other raccoons are healthy and were healthy when I handed them in the morning of Monday, May the 19th. So when I was forced to surrender, like Peanut the squirrel in New York, I was forced to surrender my baby, Rocky, 1 month and 2 days later. I would like to know what the records on that June 17th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So everything's documented. Everything has got witnesses, human witnesses. Everything's got photographs and videos. So I'm waiting to hear that. And I'd like to know why the FWC officer was told, which is not true, that my overweight Rocky, my overweight raccoon, was emaciated. So I asked the officer if I could just have that document. I'd like to have the report, because I weighed him every other day, knowing he was slightly heavy. Well, he said they actually gave me that information word of mouth. Okay, well, let's just use the 119.07 statute, Florida statute. Let's just see the words emaciated. Let's just see what they did with the 2 raccoons on May the 19th and my baby raccoon on June 17th.
Wow.
So Voice for the Voiceless is, I'm the one that's going to speak up. If there's anything that is not going on, that's on the up and up, whether it be in a conservancy or a DAS, not this county, another county, but if something's not going on in this county in a conservancy, it needs to be exposed. And I'm the one to do it. So right now I have a cease and desist, so I can only say in my opinion, from my experience, or allegedly. So that's why I'll say that. And the audience will be able to put the pieces together with the documents I will show you, because I'm completely transparent.
Wow, sounds like it. Well, thank you for sharing all of that information. That's a lot of information.
Yeah, Voice for the Voiceless.
I can tell that you feel very passionately about it.
Yeah, elderly people and animals.
Now, I also saw that you were an author. Have you written about any of this at all?
No, I haven't written about my exciting life. Certainly not. No, I've actually written books about serial killers, because I worked a lot with law enforcement in Los Angeles.
Tell us about the books that you wrote.
I've written 4 books on serial killers. So I actually helped homicide detectives in different areas of LA, and one homicide detective in Canada, in Winnipeg, closed cases on serial killers that were in the inside. So I can't say that I caught a serial killer. I can say, though, but once they were caught, to get more bodies on them, which they had obviously more bodies that they had killed.
Is that the picture of your
That's my first book. Yeah, that one is my first book. That book actually is my best book. The best book is my first book, that one, because it's got 5 serial killers.
Wow. And how did you get a job like this? This sounds interesting.
Well, that fell into my lap because I was asked to host a series called Inside the Mind of a Serial Killer. And when I was about 13 years old at boarding school, our very, very close friends, the Perkins, they were actually a mass murderer, killed the son, shot the father, who was like a second father to me. Gareth was like a brother to me, and went to the home of the boy he was obsessed with, but 30 miles away, and killed the father and shot the boy. And he's in a wheelchair to this day. Wow. So there was what's called a mass murder, different to a serial killer, but still a raving lunatic. Right. From that young age, I was studied books. Right. And read it. So when I was asked to do on camera hosting, I said, I don't want to be on camera. I'd actually like to be behind the camera and interview the serial killer in the jail. Wow. That's how I began. Then, of course, with me, scandals sometimes happen. I ended up going on a different name in the trial because I didn't want anyone to know I was Victoria Redstall. So I went under a different name. The only person who knew my name was the judge, but the defense didn't know. So the defense put me on the stand, and in front of everybody, I had to say my real name. Then scandal broke out throughout the world.
Is that right? Why?
The model and the serial killer, the actress and the serial killer, Studio City actress flaunts bond with killer, the niece of Sir Derek Allen Jones and Lady Gillian Allen Jones and Sir Ernest Harrison. And all the people in my family that have got titles, it ruined their lives, because now my poor family members in England are associated with a serial killer. So that's part's not good. Me being in my own scandal is one thing, but to bring up my family was horrible. How they even found that out, I don't know. They had to have done a lot of digging. And then, of course, it spread to England, and it spread to New York, and it spread all over this country. Then it got to Australia. I don't know anyone in Australia, but it went all over the world. I was on the Inquirer and the front cover of every magazine and every newspaper. I couldn't turn around TV shows.
Wow.
Montel Williams, though, was the only show I went on that actually was kind and told the truth. He didn't try to twist anything.
Interesting. Now, so then you also wrote another book called Fake News. Is that right? Was it called Fake News?
No.
Or what was another book of yours called?
I did Serial Killers Up Close and Very Personal, and The Grim Sleeper, which was one serial killer that we had in Los Angeles, the longest running one. And then my ex-fiance and I, we both co-authored one. So Christopher and I, we co-authored Voices of Serial Killers, and then Cannibal Serial Killers. Not my kind of serial killer, but we did co-author it together.
Right.
While we were together.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, so I read a quote of what you said. You are successful based on what you ignore. Can you explain that for us?
Yes. You've done some studying on me. Yeah, that's one of my favorite expressions. You've got to realize that the more popular you are, or the more popular you are, the more haters you have. And although you want to focus on why do they hate me? Why do they hate me? You've got to ignore it to keep rising up, to keep going. And the reason that you are popular and you have haters, the reason is because you're saying something that's hitting people's hearts, hitting people what they really think. I think I'm one of those people that will say what people think.
Right.
And that sometimes a lot of people don't like that, or don't like me because they won't do it, because they can't do it, because they haven't got the guts to do it, but I do it. So they don't like me for that.
Right.
But in the same token, I am liked because of that, loved because of that. And then some people want to be me because of that. They'll never be me, but they try. I watch them try, but it doesn't work.
There's a beautiful picture of you there.
Thank you. That's sweet. On a good day. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I also remember you told me, I think, you never sold your soul to show business.
No, I didn't.
Show
That's
business.
why I'm not an A-list actress. And I'm proud because I can look in the mirror and say there's not a single producer that got to sleep with me.
Okay.
That's
there you
so
go.
important to me.
So
Not even a single producer got to kiss me properly. I'm proud about that.
Yeah.
They got slapped, or they got kneed in the balls.
And how many years were you playing that game or running that wheel?
Well, because Al Pacino helped get me. I love Al Pacino. He helped get me into acting school. So I probably started acting school at 21, 22, because I was here since I was 19. Known the sheriff's department, all of the LA County wonderful sheriff's department, since I was 20. So for 30 years, I've got very close friends who are Los Angeles County sheriffs.
Okay.
So I would see it was 21, 22, 23, 3.5 years, Anna Strasberg, because Al Pacino went to Anna Strasberg, the wife of the late.
Right.
Lee
You got a
Strasberg.
scholarship.
So thanks to Al Pacino. So that kept going. And then whenever Al Pacino was in town, he'd have dinner with me and a group of people. And I was always trying to set him up with a girlfriend. It was so sweet. He's so shy. I said, Al, you have to make some kind of move on somebody, because this shy girl and you, it's not going to work. Because everyone wants to be with Al Pacino because he's Al Pacino.
Well, that's when you first came to America, right? When
First,
you
when I came to him. Yeah.
You got a scholarship through
But
Al
thanks to him.
Pacino.
Otherwise,
And how did you meet Al Pacino?
Through a man that when I was in England, lived next door. He was a producer next door. I was a little girl. And there was a man that
You
came
were
to
a
stay.
little girl at 19.
I was a little girl. No. I was a girl at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12
Okay, when you were
in
younger.
England. So
Oh.
next door, there was a
Oh.
producer. He had this man come and stay. There's just man and his wife. They came to stay. And that was the producer of Scarface and everything. I didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
But he came to stay. And then he said, if your daughter ever comes to America, I will introduce her to some people. And he followed through.
Wow.
And that's how I met Al
That
Pacino,
was
Luke Stroller.
lucky,
And all.
right? That was lucky.
It was very lucky.
Yeah.
But they did everything the right way. That nobody made any moves on me. I was still very young, 19, little virgin that comes to America. So again, those kind of people had a protection over me.
Yeah.
But when I went through acting school and then I'm out auditioning on my own and getting called back on my own, that's when I was on my own. And that's when
Wow.
I faced some not dangerous situations, but situations where men were way looking at magic mirrors in their homes thinking they could kiss me.
Well, now, what would you say to the girl that's at home right now that wants to have a career in acting or in news? I mean, because that was me when I was young, but I ended up having a car accident, which changed the spiral of my whole life. But anyway, I used to want to be an actress or a news reporter or something like that. What would you say to the girl out there that wants it and that does have morals and isn't gonna sleep her way to the top.
If you are open to all kinds of on-camera careers, whether it be journalism, whether on the morning news, soap operas, commercials, infomercials, some actors are just acting in only movies and they won't do commercials. I was open to it all as long as it wasn't sleazy. So that's why I branched off into more journalism, more commercials.
Well, where would you say that they should look for work? Or
I would say be a news reporter. I would say that. I mean, it's much less the casting couch in the news business. There is that too, but definitely I would say go the news route. It's, if I could do it all over again, I would definitely start being a journalist.
And when I first, because I had an accident at 20. Right then, I was working for Channel 21. I'd gotten a job interning, and I became president of some media group there in Fort Wayne before this all happened. It changed my spiral of life. But anyway, so I was on the right track. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Working with interning with Channel 21 and doing all that would have probably started me on.
Yes, that's the way to do it. You start interning. So I am actually a mentor for a lot of my friends' daughters because I'm that role model, whether it be morals, whether it be not getting depressed. I don't know, young girls in America, they seem to get depressed about. There's nothing to get depressed about. I mean, I've never been depressed in my life except right now when I'm still trying to find where my baby raccoon is. So I'm not the happiest for the last 3 weeks and 4 or 5 days. It's been unbearable. So
she came to me and said, I've got to get on your show. I've got a message. I've got it. This is what it was.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. And I just,
we had a cancellation, so it worked out perfectly.
It really did. Yeah. And I mean, I just want transparency, but there should be transparency in all conservancies, all DASs across the board, across America. They just need to be enforced, these rules, 119.07. I mean, 882.12. So that is animal cruelty, faces up to 10 years in prison. So, I mean, these people, if they've done what I assume they've done, I think, in my opinion, that they have done, they deserve prison time. Okay. And they need to be transparent from this point forward, and they need the accountability for the newborn raccoons. It's impossible to have rabies from a mother to a child, a newborn. They need to have the accountability for where they are. And the one I raised, which I was filming on Facebook every day, having thousands and thousands of people happily watching. But you got the miserable, mean women, the haters, watching as well. Oh, and where do they work?
On another note, what I also noticed that you did, which I thought was amazing, which was you were a model for painters.
Oh, yes.
And you did that where? In Italy or where?
In Huntington Beach. James, over to you. Yeah, James. There's Huntington Beach. He's got family members there. I first came to America. I wasn't legal to work here. And I got offered a huge amount of money by an artist that said, "You're so beautiful, I want to paint you." And he's only ever painted females in his
I thought that was incredible. And you actually got paid money for that?
A lot of money up front. I wish I got residuals because they were sold all over the world. They were sold in Caesar's Palace. They were sold at Wayne Newton has the whole series of me in his house. The painter gave my parents a couple of the paintings of me. And then my mother's apartment's too small, so she goes and gives them back. So now I have paintings of me on my own wall, which I don't like because I don't like to look at myself. But I have the paintings of me on my wall.
Well, Victoria announced our camera crew back there, James Henderson. We are so grateful to have James. James always has a good question or something interesting to offer. James, what are you thinking back there?
Oh, I'm thinking you've done a lot of stuff, and your career has been extremely varied. But I did a little research, and there were a couple
James
things.
Always does do research.
The favorite thing I like
that
I've found so far is this.
Oh, no.
Dear Victoria.
Yeah.
Tell them about Dear Victoria.
Oh, that's real digging. Wow. That is some really... Do you know, I had a show. It was a little radio show. So this is in Los Angeles. And I would have people call into the show. I transcribed that. Or I would pick certain people who would call in with problems. It's usually a relationship issue, mother-daughter relationship. It could be father-son. It could be a boyfriend-girlfriend, boyfriend-boyfriend. Because I lived in a town where the men were gay. I love gay men. And gay people, God bless them.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I really do. As conservative as I am, I love the gay community very much. So I would always have the people call in. And I really can solve people's issues. So Dear Victoria was what I transcribed from a radio show where people would call in. And sometimes I would say, write in. And occasionally they'd write into my website. So it was kind of like a Dear Abby. It was like, I had forgotten about that. That's another thing I did. So, Dear Victoria. And I solved so many relationship problems. And then poor men in Los Angeles, I don't know how it is here, but when they divorce a bloody woman, and then women wants to take his money and take his kids, and you know how it is over here in this country, but worse in LA, Who goes through the ringer is the man. And it's not right, because the man is usually the most balanced one. And this bitch woman, they want to make up everything. Oh, he molested the children. Oh, he beat me. None of it's true. So I always was defending the men. I had a lot of roommates. One of them is on the commercials. The black guy that does all the commercials, he lived with me 5.5 years. Another roommate I had, he was going through a divorce. And I remember the ex-wife saying, I'm going to say that you molested the kids in the bath. Where Eric was living with me. I said, I bought the kids with you. I'm going to prove that I'll stand in court for you. So I want to do everything to defend men. I'm an advocate for men's rights. Him too. I mean, my God, all this women crap. Well, that takes me another tangent. I'm not a feminist. I'm an anti-feminist.
Well, I think that you should revive the Dear
Revive
Victoria.
it.
I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
How can I revive it? Would I do it on my website? Would I do it through an email or on a little podcast?
You could do it on your website. You could do it on Instagram. You could do it on Facebook. You could do it over TikTok and just record them.
I don't know how to do TikTok, but you're right. I should do that. Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
I will give that food for thought.
Well, are we ready now for the real estate minute?
Okay.
The real estate minute. Okay, so today we're going to talk about rentals because I know, Victoria, what is it that you do? You're a property manager.
I'm for an investor. Yeah,
for an investor dealing with rentals, right?
I do.
And so, how do you find the rental market here in Florida?
The rental market has gone down. I'm not a real estate, but I do help manage the properties for him. So
I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm also going to tell you how it's going for my daughter who's looking for a place in Ohio right now. The real estate minute, according to ChatGPT, the rental market in 2025 is experiencing a cooling trend as rapid growth with median rent slightly decreasing and vacancy rates rising due to an oversupply of new units. While demand remains strong, especially in cities like Jacksonville and Cape Coral, investors face challenges such as rising insurance costs and regulatory changes. Strategic investments in stable markets and diversification are recommended to navigate these dynamics. Well, that was kind of a surprise to me because all week long we've been celebrating. My second daughter got married, the first in a trifecta. I have two more weddings now in November and February, and then all my girls are going to be married, all my 4 daughters. But my oldest daughter that was here from Beverly Hills, she and her fiance are moving to Ohio because that's where he's from, and they have a great job opportunity there. But the whole time she was here, she was looking for rentals because she said, Mom, every time I get a rental, we get we're starting to make a contract on it, and it goes out from under us because Ohio isn't such a big rental market, which, who would have even thought of that? I said, geez, I think you need to buy yourself a rental property and put it for rent there. And, but they don't want to buy something right away when they move to Ohio. So anyway, this is what was causing me to think about how the rentals are actually here, and so.
Yes, it's hard to rent and also to sell. It's impossible right now. Nobody is buying. Would you say that?
I beg to differ. You would. Yes, okay. I would beg to differ that. And you could watch my podcast from last week, my podcast next week. I always have a real estate minute that's going to go through how the market really is. And we are experiencing a cooling right now in all of the markets. But as far as there are still there's more properties for sale. But they're not, the prices aren't rising, but they're not going down either here in Florida, especially. So I think it's a healthy market here actually in Florida. Last week I said it was a 5.5 months market is a really good market. 6 months is a totally balanced market. So anyway, that's what
know more than me.
Yeah, that's what we're experiencing here. Yeah, but anyway, so if you have a realtor, please use your realtor. Go to your realtor for all the questions you have, or to negotiate for a property, or to find you another property. The realtors are the ones that have all the best knowledge out there to help you. And if you don't have a realtor, I'd be happy to help you or even refer you to someone in your area. Please send me a message. My information is going to be down below in the biography. And please give this podcast a like, subscribe to the channel, post your questions below if you have any questions for Victoria or me, or our big camera guy back there, James.
Yay.
We're all here to help you. And please just let us know how we can help you, okay? And share this message with someone else who might need to know about how to become a star, or what not to do when you're becoming a star, in your job search of career.
Yeah, do it the right way.
Yeah. But does anyone have anything more to share? Or can I close up the show?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks, guys. We love you so much. And please hit that like button, because if you're still watching, I think you liked it. And we're going to see you next week. We're going to go live on Friday. Love you.